Malo soy fua tu veti, faftai mo le avno.
Whaftai lava mo le whaawanoa ino lo teimi I awale tatou talanoanga I le nei tai au. So, fesili mua mua whaamona mole Andrew ta amata mai le vaenga lea o le vai aso lea na tau maua le tau awanoa. Tau te iai fo I manisi fo I o sui o le Manurewa loi kupore wha ai loa mana onga o tangata I Manurewa I le whaasosoa ina leo le paketi a le Auckland Council. E mawhai ana e saunua I lea tūlanga ma wha ai loa nisi fo I o vaenga na tau saunua iai.
Ia fafetai mo le fesili tu veti. Ele o se mea fai ngufi. Ele ve ai me ia ka o le falkusi, falkaeli, vaokele. O me ia ka o le lapisi ma mafa, le ka o le vai paipa, o le kele fo o me ia ele ve ai mako le kangaka Pasifika. Le ka o le ave pasi, a fai ki fia, you know, if you want to take the bus, or me, it affects us. We heard the job cuts in the New Zealand Herald yesterday, but I look okay for Mako if I the wing and malo. Elevea Mako. So Olikinga inga ia Mako I me, because ekinga inga. Vai pala ni olai ke langa kupe ke langa savings my investments my free money. Ai Mako. E rent o Mako ele ole so le me ole kangaka. So o Mako ele vea ma me ka ole suinga ke kile. We're looking for savings, billions of dollars worth of savings. And it's those at the bottom that are going to be affected the most.
Exactly.
So, what's in it for us? How can we protect us? How can we ensure that those who have the least are protected the most? Because we've been through cuts like this before, and it's always us. They always take from the bottom to help the top. So, and how can we be effective? How can we, submit? How can we protest? How can we raise our voice to ensure that cuts like this are not going to be as deep? We're looking at the cost of renting a council facility, for example. That cost is likely to increase. And those are our churches, those are our community groups, those are our sports groups. All of those costs will have a direct impact on our Pacific people. And it was me fai ngufi quick fai ki. We could be blamed because I'm the only Samoan on the Manurewa local board.
Yeah.
I will be the target. Pe afe ele, mauki ngol swinga ia pe afe ele me ele malia ele la ko loko wa ulala ele vea I paluka. So o kia lofa ia mako kangako Pasifika kangako moku. Pa ole fi auta wo mo mako. Yeah, lafolo filangano mano mangako. We need to be heard in order to be saved, in order to be looked after. And, we have a mayor that's hell-bent on selling our airport shares and doing a whole lot of other radical interventions to get the budget in line. And so it's just about making sure that we protect our patch, where we come from and what's important to us. For your services taking the bus, the train, the cost of public transport, all of those things have a direct impact on our people and our families.
Malie. Now, ole pe ona e saunoa lea sa whailoa mai fo I le pule nuu, au kilani le whaangasolonga fo I o le face mua po le vaenga mua o cost budget cuts lea o le paketi. Ilo lava, finangalo, in your opinion, with the proposed budget lea o lo iai, e au ngā le nei vaenga mo tangata Pasifika?
So there are three options on the table. Rates increase. Asset sales. Borrowing. So we can borrow more in order to balance the books. So there's a combination of those three options on the table at the moment. The sale of assets, increase of the rates, taxes. Taxes. And so that's likely to have an impact on rent, the cost of rents, because obviously any increase in rates gets passed on from the landlord to the tenant. So those are the kind of issues that we're wrestling with as a council. And we need your feedback. We need your response. We need to know your priorities as a ratepayer, as an Aucklander. This is the largest Polynesian city in the world. And so we need to ensure that Pacific people are thriving. One of the saddest things I heard at a meeting recently was cuts to our Pacific events.
Yes.
Pacifica, the ASB Polyfest, our creative arts spaces, our markets, all of those services that council funds or provides are likely to be cut back. So if I look at media ka le whaboy moi fo ngani o ASP Polyfest o Pacifica o le markets, le night markets ma me fo ngani. All of those places and spaces make us happy. If you mako I me nga fa kipi ese. How do we thrive as a community? How do we enjoy life? Be afai wo sui a ko le me. So o le fe au ka wo mo I mako Samoa. Fale, have your say and make sure you're heard, because a lot of our people rely on those events and those services to generate an income. And with the cost of living, and they're going to reintroduce the regional fuel tax, so it's going to get even higher in about a month. So we're looking at a cost of living crisis, and then some of our Pacific people will be affected by those council job cuts. Some of our people will be affected by the peeling back of those Pacific events, those Pacific services. Our churches will suffer from an increase in the cost of renting a council hall. So we're not going to have as many events. And we know that we're more likely to be depressed and to feel unhappy and to feel unheard when we don't have our events and our spaces, especially in a financial crisis. That's when we need those things the most, because they give us the most joy. And so we're going to end up in a very dark space if we lose what makes us Pacifica. And so we need as much feedback as we can get to tell the mayor and to tell the elected councillors that this is what the people are saying.
Yeah, a
So
lot
that's
of
where we
listeners
are right now.
right now, Fale.
Samoa, but we work together. Mako ke ngā lulu e whakasi. I maka upule. I kuka maunga si te mata I le vea ima mako uma.
Malo so no Fale whamole. So for someone listening, o lo whaapea, it's a waste of time mo I lato le whaali o lato finangalo awa e whaali finangalo o le ale me o e whaia le vaenga o lo o mana na o ile Auckland Council or councillors. So o le ala so whaamalo si amo I lato.
I'll give you an encouragement to Ivaiti. 44% of the submissions in Manurewa were from Pacifica people. And for us, that's a record. We've never had that. Nearly half of our submissions, they live in Totara Heights, Wattle Downs. It's a very Palangi area. So to have 44% of submissions from our people, that shows you that people are listening. And our people do care, and our people are organizing themselves to have a say. And so it's just about having that pressure on the council at a time like this to say, look after our festivals, look after the cost of renting a council facility, look after the cost of taking a bus or a train to work, look after those services, the cost of water, the cost of maintenance, our rubbish, our inorganic collection. Look after the core council services that our Pacific people rely on every day to make ends meet, and make sure that we are included. Because, we came so close to electing a Samoan mayor. We're still bitter and disappointed about that. Yes. But we've got to move on, and we've got to make sure that we're still represented in that budget, because we are one of the largest demographics in the city. Yes. And we stand to hurt the most from any budget cuts on this scale. So we need to look after one another. It's not going to be an easy ride. We're not going to get every win on the table. Let's be realistic. We're not going to get everything we want out of this budget. But we need to make sure that we support one another.
O le ase no ta inga yeti o e mele paketi le o le Auckland Council budget. So what do you hope to see from the Auckland Council budget?
Equity. Because, it was our airport shares that we saved when we came into this new Auckland Council. And if they sell those airport shares, they're probably going to spend that money in the city and on the North Shore. And so the question becomes, those are our airport shares. Why shouldn't we get the money from that sale if you proceed with that sale? So, it's things like that with the West and the South. They always miss out when it comes to budget cuts like this. And so it's about making sure that we're on the table and that there is money for our communities and that we are being listened to and that our services are protected. So as much as I love this city, I can see the inequity, the fact that the North Shore seems to get more money than the rest of us, the fact that we're spending so much on the Queen Street redevelopment over and above what we spend on our suburbs. And so it's just about making sure that we get the recognition that we deserve.
Yeah. And we get the fair share. Ioi, ma
Exactly.
lo sau no I lewa e ngā whale. Now, lewa toi ta liu mai lau whai ngā malanga, mai Amerika, na wa aia ia na mawalo awa no e whelo ai ma Barack Obama. O le hasi lewa tala noanga ma Obama lea Samoa.
Mo le silifia Samoa o Obama o le kamamo'i a o le Pasifika. O le sa whiona I Hawaii. O Canada o Samoa, o Konga, o Fiki, o Lalokonga. O le mako kalangoanga le ngā. He went to school with so many Polynesians in Hawaii, just like the American Idol winner, Ian Tongi. So we see him as the first Pacific president of the United States. We don't see him as the first African American. And I told him to his face, o ya lea o le, peliskenge mua o le motu le Pasifika. Ai kalie. O whai ako le ai, o lai mo ilo kala, ngai ki whiora I Hawaii. O lo ki ngā le Hawaii. Longa winga, o il Samoa, ai wa ai le kalie. Whai so pea, ka so pea, oilo, o le kamo Pasifika, ele o si Chicago. And he's done this thing called Obama Young Leaders. I'm not sure if you're familiar. And he's using a lot of young Pacific leaders in the region, Samoa, Tonga, Fiji. He's collecting a lot of young leaders from the region and he's giving them training, support, networks, professional development. And that's just proof that he cares deeply for the Pacific. E ano lofa mai I mako I Pasifika. Olai loa, because he knew, growing up in Hawaii, that we need this kind of support and this training. So he really cares deeply for the Pacific. And it's great to see. He's still got a home in Hawaii. He still goes back every year to his vacation home in Hawaii. So, there's an opportunity for our Pacific people to use him for their businesses, for their education, for their jobs, whatever they're interested in. There's an opportunity to use that connection and use that leverage to get the best out of Obama.
Yeah, lea Samoa fo I lea wanoa ma se tasi fo I o sui filifilia, o lea fo I polo kalame ia reina wa ai, lea o loa lala fo I Aukilani New Zealand nei, ia I le polo kalame taua lea, ai mai se fo ia o le masina nei o loo whaataua ai, le ngata o tangata Asia au tangata Pasifika fo I totonu o Amerika, so ma nei a lea Samoa dua wanoa e tala noa ia ma se tasi fo I o le na vea mataita I o Amerika. Now, Fale wha mole ono le tātaimi, e iei se isi vaenga I te fia saunua iei, ai le mai a tātala noanga?
Leai, o lewa iai. Yeah, I'm short and sweet. Yeah. Au le whake le mai muole le kanuanga le. Amanga le short and sweet o le fia, usu kangaki whalinga ruenga ma aonga ma mea fwinga le. Be safe on the road. Remember to hug your loved ones and enjoy life.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And Fale, before we do end, Lesa e saunoa I submissions for you, po le have your say. Whae noa whina ngalo, ia, o le tato atunuu. O whea ma whai ona whaatino ai lea vaenga?
Whawhitai mo le whishiri tui waiti. We can do that online on haveyoursay.govt.nz, on social media. So we're making ourselves available at events as well. You'll see our Fale ears. So make yourself known. There's more than one way to have your say. Talk to your local board representatives, talk to your councillors, talk to staff. They'll all point you in the right direction. We're not excluding anyone, so feel free. You don't even have to be a resident or a citizen. There's no barrier to having your say. This is your city too, and you have every stake in protecting the city and making sure that the city lives up to its name as the most livable city in the world.
Mali e, o lo whaanga solo pea le vaenga le submissions I awa lava le whaalia o lo whingalo Samoa I tūlanga o lo o iei tāpinanga fo I ama le whaapakiti ina po le whaasoso ina leo le tamau ainga a le Auckland Council, so have your say. Fale, whaptai lava mo le whaavanoa ina o lo teimi, tātou te tala noa I nei tai au, manuia lava singa mga luenga o le nei tai au.
Faftai lava tui vaiti, Manurewa Samoa, alo fikele